Hello, dreamer. I'll be your storyteller tonight. Like and subscribe for more bedtime stories and share in the comments where you're listening from. People think McDonald's is harmless. A summer job, fries, smiles, golden arches. But for me, McDonald's became a scar. A scar that never healed. I worked one summer that I'll never forget. The summer that left its mark. The summer that showed me how quickly a normal night can become a fight for your life. This is my story. And I wish it wasn't true. I was 19, broke, stressed. I just needed extra cash for school. When they hired me at McDonald's, I thought I got lucky. Minimum wage, sure, but it was steady. And I didn't mind the night shifts. The quiet suited me, the hum of the fryers, the smell of fries in the air, the neon glow outside. It felt safe. Safe. That word means nothing to me now, my third week. Past 1 a.m., the dining room was empty except for one man. He sat in the corner booth, hood pulled low, hands hidden. He hadn't ordered anything. I walked over, asked if he was okay. He looked up slowly and smiled. "You look like you'd scream easy." My stomach dropped. I froze. Before I could react, my manager shouted from the back. The man stood, slipped out the door. Gone. I tried to laugh it off. Told myself he was just drunk. But his voice, low, gravelly, stuck in my head, like he hadn't spoken out loud at all. Like he whispered it inside me. It was July 4th. Fireworks outside, crowds downtown. The restaurant was nearly empty. At 2:17 a.m., the doors swung open. It was him. The hooded man. But this time, he wasn't alone. Two others followed. One carried a bat. I froze. They didn't come to order. They came for me. The hooded man leaned on the counter, tapped the glass with one finger. Tap, tap, tap. "Remember me?" he asked. Before I could speak, the one with the bat vaulted over the counter, swinging. I ducked, the metal crashing against the soda machine. Syrup sprayed everywhere. The third man locked the doors. No way out. My manager screamed, but they grabbed him, threw him to the ground. The bat hovered inches above his face. "Not him," the hooded man said. "Her." His finger pointed at me. My chest tightened. My legs felt like cement, then instinct. I ran. I bolted into the kitchen, heart slamming in my chest. Behind me, their footsteps thundered. The bat clanged against metal counters. I dove into the freezer. Slammed the door shut. Locked it. The cold swallowed me. I pressed my back to the ice, shivering. Then, thud. The bat slammed the freezer door, again and again. Each strike echoed through my bones. "Come out," the hooded man called. "You can't hide forever." I pressed my hands over my mouth, choking on my breath. Minutes dragged like hours. Finally, the pounding stopped. Silence. I waited. 5 minutes, 10, 20. When I finally stepped out, the restaurant was empty. The front door hung open. My manager was gone. Everything looked normal. Too normal, like nothing had happened at all. Police came. I filed a report. They never caught the men. They said maybe it was gang activity. Maybe a random robbery. Maybe nothing, but I knew better. They didn't want money. They wanted me. I quit the next day, packed up. Tried to forget, but forgetting is impossible. Weeks later, back home, I started hearing things late at night. A knock at the door, tap, 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 no one there, in mirrors. A figure in a hood standing behind me. Gone when I turned in my dreams, that voice. "You look like you'd scream easy." Sometimes I wake with bruises on my arms, finger-shaped, like someone dragged me in my sleep. I don't know if it's in my head, or if they never stopped watching me. I avoid McDonald's now. Can't stand the smell of fries. Can't look at the golden arches without shaking. But the worst part isn't the memories, it's the doubt. Because last week I checked something, the police report. It says I was the only one working that night. No manager, no witnesses, just me, but I remember him. I remember the bat. I remember the pounding on the freezer door. So either the police are wrong, or I've been wrong all along. Maybe there was never anyone there. Maybe it's been inside my head, festering, growing, and if that's true, if it's all in me, then maybe I never left that freezer. Maybe I'm still in there, cold, alone, trapped in the night that changed everything. McDonald's never closes, but maybe that's because the ones who enter never really leave. I was 17 when I got the job. Summer before college. I just wanted some money in my pocket. The McDonald's I worked at was one of the oldest in town. The tiles were chipped. The fryer hissed and groaned like it hated working as much as we did. The basement door sat in the back hallway. Rusted, padlocked, ignored. Every new hire got the same warning. Never go into the basement. Supplies only. Locked for safety. We all joked about it. Called it the dungeon. Said maybe Ronald McDonald's body was down there. But the managers never laughed. Their faces stayed blank whenever it came up. That should have been my first warning. The first time I heard it, it was after midnight. Quiet shift. The dining room empty. I was mopping near the back when it started. Knock, knock, knock. From the basement door. I froze. The sound was slow, heavy, like someone trapped inside. I pressed my ear against the door. The knocking stopped, and then a whisper. So faint I could barely catch it. My name. I stumbled back, nearly dropping the mop. When I told my manager, he just shook his head. Pipes, he said, but his hands trembled. Weeks passed. The smell came next. It drifted up from the basement. Metallic. Rotten. Like spoiled meat. Sometimes, when I carried trash to the dumpster, I swore I heard flies buzzing behind that locked door. But no one else reacted. No one admitted smelling it. It was like I was the only one who noticed. Then came the night everything changed. I clocked in for my night shift. The air was heavy, tense, and when I walked past the basement, the padlock was gone. The door stood open. Darkness spilled out, cold and endless. The smell hit me full force. Thick. Metallic. I gagged, covering my mouth. But curiosity pulled me down. The stairs creaked under my weight. The air grew colder with every step. My breath came out in faint clouds. The room at the bottom was bare. Concrete walls, rusty shelves, and in the corner, a freezer. It was old, industrial, covered in frost, and it was humming. Even though it wasn't plugged in, I don't know why I opened it. Some part of me wanted to prove it was just food, supplies, but it wasn't. Inside were black plastic bags, stacked like meat deliveries. Some split open, and what spilled out wasn't beef. I saw fingers, gray, stiff, frozen. A hand curled into a claw. I staggered back, choked on a scream. That's when I heard footsteps. My manager stood at the top of the stairs, his eyes dark, expression blank. You weren't supposed to see this, he said. His voice was flat, empty. I begged him to explain, begged him to tell me it was a prank, but he just shook his head. It keeps the arches alive, he whispered. You don't understand, we feed it. Or it feeds on us. Then he stepped closer, and I realized he wasn't talking about the freezer. He was talking about the thing inside it. I bolted up the stairs, heart hammering. He chased me, shouting. The basement door slammed shut behind me. I ran into the kitchen, grabbed the heaviest pan I could find. He burst through after me, eyes wild. For a moment I thought he'd kill me. But then, the freezer door downstairs slammed open. A sound rose up. Low, wet, gurgling, like something waking. My manager froze. Whispered, "It's hungry." I didn't wait. I ran out the back door, into the night. I went straight to the cops. Told them everything. They searched the basement, but the freezer was gone. The smell was gone. The manager said I was unstable, delusional. They believed him. I quit the next day. But quitting didn't save me. The dreams came first. The freezer. The knocking. The whispers. Then the sounds followed me into waking life. Late at night, I'd hear it in my apartment. Knock, knock, knock from inside my closet. When I opened it, nothing. But the air smelled of metal. Sometimes in mirrors, I see hands behind me, frozen, reaching. Years passed. I tried to move on. Tried to forget, until the night I drove past that McDonald's again. It was boarded up. Closed for good, but spray painted on the wall were 3 words. Room and basement. I pulled over. The air was still. Silent. And then, from beneath the asphalt, knock, knock, knock. I don't think I ever escaped that night. Not really, because when I checked the police report years later, it said something impossible. I was never on the schedule that night. No record of me clocking in. No record of me working there at all. But I remember the uniform. I remember the smell. I remember the freezer. So either the reports are wrong, or I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, if I was never an employee, then maybe I was something else. Maybe I wasn't working there. Maybe I was in the freezer. They say McDonald's never closes. But some freezers never open, and when you eat there, pray you're not eating me. I'd worked nights before, gas stations, warehouses. But McDonald's felt harmless. Fries, burgers, a few drunk customers. That night I was alone in the kitchen. Manager gone home early. Only me, a cashier up front, and silence. The fryer hummed softly. The soda machine hissed. And then I heard it, a faint sizzle. Even though nothing was in the oil, the lights above the fryer flickered, buzzed, died for a second. In that flash of darkness, I saw a figure, bent, crawling along the counter. When the light came back, it was gone. I told myself I was tired, hallucinating, but the fryer hissed again, like it was laughing. Around 2:15, the door chimed. A man walked in, tall, thin, face pale as flour, eyes black and sunken. He didn't speak, didn't order, just stood at the counter staring at the cashier. She froze. I froze, and then he smiled. Not a human smile, too wide, too many teeth. When I blinked, he was gone. The door never opened. Minutes later, the order screen beeped. An order appeared. 1 human meal. The cashier screamed. I stared. It had to be a prank. But the printer spat out a receipt. Real. Paper in my hand, and the fryer roared to life. Oil bubbling, even though no one touched it. The shadows stretched longer, darker. They didn't move with us. They moved on their own. I turned, saw one stretching toward the freezer. Fingers of darkness clawing along the tiles. I grabbed my phone to call the manager. No signal. Just static. The cashier whispered, "They're hungry." The fryer basket slammed down by itself. Oil hissed and sprayed, a scream echoed, but not from us. From the oil. Like voices boiling, I saw hands clawing at the surface, skin bubbling, faces forming in the grease. I yanked the cord, unplugged it, but it kept cooking. We tried to leave. Doors locked, bolted from the outside, windows fogged, impossible to see through. The arches outside flickered red, not yellow. The cashier sobbed. I told them I didn't want night shifts, she whispered. They always choose new ones. I asked her what she meant. She didn't answer, just stared at the fryer, like it had her soul, she told me then. Every few years, the night shift feeds the arches. That's how the restaurant survives. How the brand stays alive. It doesn't want burgers, she said. It wants us, I laughed, desperate. Told her she was insane, but her eyes told the truth. The back door opened. The manager walked in, but his smile was wrong. His skin looked stretched, like a mask barely holding shape. You saw it, didn't you? He whispered. The fryer never sleeps, and then his jaw unhinged. Wider than humanly possible. The fryer baskets lifted on their own, empty, but dripping with blood. The cashier screamed. Something dragged her across the floor. Her nails screeched against tile. I ran. I didn't look back. Her screams cut off, replaced by bubbling. The fryer was full again. I locked myself in the supply closet, dark, silent. But through the vents I heard whispers. Order up. Fresh meat. Golden arches forever. I held my breath, prayed, but the fryer hissed louder, and something crawled in the dark. I finally ran for the freezer, bolted inside. Shut the door, cold air hit me. Safe for a moment until I saw what was inside, not boxes, not food, bodies, frozen. Stacked in neat rows, wearing McDonald's uniforms. Some had been there for decades, and in the back, a reflection of me. Frozen, smiling. I don't remember how I got out. The freezer door slammed. I screamed until my throat bled, and then I was outside. Parking lot empty. Sun rising. My uniform soaked in grease and blood. No one believed me. No record of me working that shift. No record of the cashier existing at all. Years later, I stopped at another McDonald's, different town. Different faces, but behind the counter, I saw her, the cashier, smiling, perfect uniform. Her eyes met mine, cold, empty, and the fryer hissed. Like it remembered me, so now I don't eat there. I don't even drive past because I know the truth. The fries aren't fried in oil. The arches aren't fed with money, they're fed with us, and if you ever work the night shift, pray the fryer doesn't call your number. I don't take my kids to McDonald's, not anymore. Not after what I saw. When people ask me why, I laugh it off. I say it's the food, the grease, the sugar. But the truth? It's something no one would believe. I worked there once, a summer job, just a way to make money before college. But the memories never left. They cling to me like grease in my skin, especially the play place. The play place is cursed. I know how that sounds. But I swear it's true. I was 17, newly hired, assigned to mop floors, wipe tables, clean fryers. But my least favorite task? The play place. It was bright and colorful during the day. Kids laughing, climbing, sliding, parents sipping sodas, scrolling on phones. Everything looked normal, but at night, when the lights dimmed and the laughter was gone, that's when the play place changed. The tunnels echoed. The ball pit shifted. And I always felt watched. It happened on my second week. A little boy ran into the tunnel maze. His mom sat by the window scrolling her phone. Minutes passed. No boy came down the slide. "Tyler," she called. Her voice cracked. I went inside to check. I crawled through the plastic tubes. Empty. No kid. I checked the slide. Nothing. The mother started screaming. The manager rushed over, calming her down. He swore her boy had already left. Probably ran outside, but I knew. I never saw him leave. That was the first. But not the last. Later that night, my manager pulled me aside. "Don't talk about it," he said. His eyes were heavy, bloodshot. "Things happen here. They always have. Don't ask questions. Don't make trouble." Got it, I wanted to argue. But the way he looked at me, like he'd seen it all before. I just nodded. That was the moment I realized this wasn't an accident. This was a pattern. Cleaning the play place at night was the worst. The smell was rotten. Old ketchup, sour milk, and something else. Something metallic. I'd hear it sometimes. A giggle, a whisper. Tiny hands slapping against the plastic tunnels. But no one was inside. At least, no one alive. One night I was told to sanitize the ball pit. God, I hated that job. I climbed in, sinking knee-deep into plastic balls. I started scooping them out, spraying them down. That's when I felt it. Something moved beneath me. A shift, a ripple. Like something was swimming under the surface. I froze. Then, a small hand shot up and grabbed my wrist. I screamed, yanking free. The ball shifted back into place. The pit looked empty. When I told my manager, he just shook his head. "Don't look down." I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know the truth. One slow night, I snuck into the back office. Pulled up the cameras. The play place feed glowed on the screen. I saw a little girl crawl into the tunnels. She vanished into the shadows. I waited. She never came out. Hours later, the tunnels shuddered. The slide bulged, and I swear, I saw the outline of a face pressed against the plastic. Mouth wide, screaming, then it faded. I should have quit. I should have walked away, but curiosity killed me. One night after closing, I climbed into the play place, armed with a flashlight. The tunnels were darker than they should have been. The air thick. The plastic walls warm. Like skin, I crawled deeper. The laughter followed me, high-pitched, distant, children's voices. The further I went, the bigger it got. It didn't make sense. I should have reached the slide by now. But the tunnels kept going, twisting, stretching. The flashlight flickered, and in the dim light I saw them. Faces, pressed against the plastic walls. Dozens of them, eyes wide, mouths moving. Silent screams. I scrambled backward, but the tunnel shifted behind me, closing. I realized then, the play place wasn't a structure. It was alive, and it was hungry. The laughter grew louder. The plastic pulsed. The tunnel walls breathed. Something brushed against my ankle. I looked down. A tiny face grinned up at me from the floor. I screamed. Hands shot out of the walls. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Small, cold hands, grabbing, pulling. I fought, kicking, clawing, but the more I struggled, the tighter they gripped. The flashlight fell, rolled down the tunnel, and I saw what was waiting, the ball pit. But it wasn't filled with plastic balls anymore. It was filled with teeth. Somehow I broke free. I don't remember how. I just remember running, crawling, screaming. I burst out of the slide, crashing onto the floor. The play place loomed behind me, silent still. My coworkers found me shaking. I told them what happened. They laughed, said I was overworked, hallucinating, but I knew the truth. I quit the next day, never went back. But the missing kids never left my mind. I checked the news. No reports. No headlines. No one ever spoke about it. It was like they'd been erased. Years passed. I had kids of my own. One night, driving home, my daughter spotted a McDonald's. She begged to stop. I told her no. I drove faster, but as we passed, I looked at the play place window, and my blood froze, because staring out from the tunnel was my own face, eyes wide, mouth screaming, trapped. Parents think the play place is safe, but it's not. It's feeding. And one day, it'll want yours too.